Currently Untitled Podcast. The Currently Untitled Podcast. The Currently Untitled Podcast. The Currently Untitled Podcast.
Welcome to the Currently Untitled Podcast with me, Dominic Cole.
And me, Liam Cosgrove.
Yes, so we'll give some insight into why we've chosen to do this podcast, basically. So for me, personally, I want to get off my arse and talk about something that's a bit interesting. It's not drivel. A lot of time YouTubers pump video day after day after day it's shit. Whereas this, it'll be probably, would you say, a bi-weekly thing? Is it something like that?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, bi-weekly. I mean, we'll think of some things to talk about, relevant topics, and some things that we find relatively funny. And have a different guest on, hopefully, each week. And it just seems very interesting and something different to do. So that's my point of view.
Yeah, I'm here to speak drivel, and I'll just be mumbling and speaking nonsense the entire time. But there's a lot of stuff that I wanna say that I haven't said in the past, or I don't really write anything online. So I think this is the best way and easiest way to get my opinions across and my thoughts across without having to spend 20 hours thinking of a tweet.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So this is pretty much why I'm doing it. Yeah, here to talk and get drunk.
Well, let's begin.
All right.
Ding.
Like, I can get why some people like express themselves online, but I feel like you can tell the difference between the sort of like authentic people and the people who are just sort of like
You don't.
trying to seem happy.
It's very obvious. You can tell if someone's like. Well, for my, I'll use mine as as an example. Like my Instagram, I'm obviously not going to post things that are negative. I use it more as if I go on holiday, I use it as something, almost a collection of memories, or me being a ridiculous person. I'll post something ridiculous on Instagram because I find it funny.
Yeah.
It's one or the other. It's either I've had a great time, I want to put it on there, or I get a kick out of this because I know it'll either annoy some people or I find it funny. That's what it is for me. Whereas, and the people who know me know it's that. It's not a lie. Whereas some people post on there, like you said, that as though they're right happy when they're just not. It's just rubbish. You know what I mean? But that's more. I think that's more towards Twitter when you're actually typing things. It's not such an image. That's
one thing that annoys me. That is the idea that you've got to voice your opinion on everything.
Mm.
There's like I follow some people, not even people I'm friends with, just I follow some people on Twitter, where they always like, I like what they've made. Like I usually follow them because I like what the work.
What are these like influencers or just?
Yeah, Graham Linehan, who wrote the IT Crowd.
Oh, I didn't know
he wrote Father Ted as well.
Right.
So he's a really funny guy, but he just has opinions on everything, and it's just like,
give it a rest.
Just stop. It's just like, have their opinions, but you don't necessarily need to voice them all the time.
Yeah.
It's just really annoying and irritating.
Yeah, well, they almost create that stature for themselves when they write something that is of comedic value. They put themselves on a pedestal above other people. Like, we both know we love Ricky Gervais, but often at times he does. He values his opinion over others. Like, for example, I love his work, and I assume you love the majority of his work anyway.
Like half of it.
Do you like what? Well, for me, I'm a huge fan, and I love The Office and everything. But when it came to the film, it was shit. It was terrible.
Yeah, I've not even watched the film, to be honest.
The series I give 5 stars out of 5 easily. That for me, there's the cringy satire, sarcastic humour. The little innuendos and everything. Whereas the film was it was god awful. It was cringy, but not in a funny way.
I feel like he needs Steve to.
Steve Merchant is the director.
Yeah, he just directed his own film, which like The Rock is produced as well.
Yeah, he's the one who he's the glue of the comedic genius basically.
Yeah,
he needs to hold Ricky in shape. But back to my point, someone criticised Ricky on his film, just like said a basic point saying, "Oh, I love your stuff, but I don't like the film." And I've seen a few people do it, and he blocks them instantly. Do you know what I mean? And that's like putting yourself above. Where if you can't take criticism, what's the point?
Did you see his new stand-up special?
Humanity.
Newish. Yeah, it came out a few months ago.
Humanity, yeah.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was quite good. I actually liked it, yeah. I mean, there were a few bits where at times he almost seemed to try and be offensive to be offensive, if you get what I'm saying. He wanted to be like, I am the person who's willing to be this offensive. Well, when you're like, it's not always needed, you know. You know.
Well, I thought some of it was like, I like the gag with the dead baby, like just chucking it away.
I can't even remember half it. I think I've only watched half, but from what I saw, it was good. Well, it's not like the best I've ever seen, but I thought it was definitely better than
I turned it off halfway through.
Did you not like it?
No, it felt so. It didn't feel like as natural as I guess the other ones did. Like it felt very forced. Like I remember when I saw like Roadrunner by Lee Evans.
Yeah, I think I've seen that thing. I thought that was.
I really dislike Roadrunner.
Did you?
I did not like Roadrunner at all.
Right good.
I didn't like. I watched it and I didn't laugh at all. Like his previous one at the O2, I laughed. I thought it was hilarious.
I can't. I remember I went to watch it, but I don't know which stand-up it was.
I can't tell whether it's just because I was younger and I just thought it was funny. Because like stuff like I tried showing Austin Powers to my girlfriend, and like she generally doesn't like having to sit down for an hour and a half to watch films.
Yeah.
Which is very irritating to me.
Yeah.
But it's really cringy. It's like it's not nearly as good as I thought it was.
I completely agree. I watched it on TV the other night, and I thought it was up there with like Jim Carrey and like Ace Ventura and stuff. I was like, oh, it's Austin Powers. I'm not even going to try replicating what he says. And, you know, that type of thing. It's funny. And then I got it. Some bits are funny, you know, like with Mini Me or whatever. There's little bits, but it's more like little bits of cute humour rather than it's not laugh out loud funny. It's not hilarious.
I watched the first one with it, and I was like, after it, I was like, that wasn't very good. I think I remember the second one being better. So I made her watch the second one as well. I was like, that was pretty much the same.
Yeah,
it wasn't very good.
I don't know what it is though, because we can say we were younger, but a lot of the audience is older people anyway, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'd say.
Yeah.
So how does that make sense?
I don't know.
No, but I agree completely.
Whether it's me or just sort of society, like, because there's some of it where like I can go like, oh, that wouldn't have worked like in 2018. That wouldn't have worked in 2018. That would have worked.
Yeah, but it's so annoying, now, isn't it? Oh. Why is it like that? They're like, oh dear.
I think with some more context, I can understand why it wouldn't necessarily work. But I still want people who are willing to push that sort of boundary.
But I love that with especially with people like Jimmy Carr.
Yeah, I think Jimmy Carr's great.
I think it, like when he really goes. Sometimes when he does little jokes that obviously aren't pushing things. Sometimes it's a bit like, but when he actually pushes the boundaries and he knows what he's going for to push a button, he's brilliant. He's one of the best. I think he's really good. I
think because he's always got punchlines to his jokes. They're always jokes. They're not like this is offensive.
Yeah,
there's he sets it up and then he like
that's the whole point with Jimmy Carr is his delivery is fantastic and his build up. Whereas someone who else is probably equally offensive, Frankie Boyle, I don't find funny in the slightest.
No,
I think his delivery's horrific. I think he just says something in a shit Scottish accent and then people laugh and go, oh yeah, bollocks, it's rubbish. I can't stand it now. What do you think? I think he's rubbish.
I feel like I used to like him. I've got a cushion somewhere where I was like in secondary school where I like remember when we were in like tech and we had to do this like weave and stuff like that. Yeah, I've got one. I think it's upstairs to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's got Frankie Boyle's face on it, and under it's a text saying, "Where's my lawyer?"
Where's my lawyer? Is that like...
Because he was like really offensive and getting into legal trouble and like I was like, that's hilarious.
I thought that was like one of his catchphrases or something.
Where's my lawyer?
Oh my word, no. No, for me it's delivery over how offensive you can get. Because he hasn't made me laugh. Same with that Jack D. You know who he is? Jack D. The grumpy old
I feel
man.
like he's I can't tell whether he just stopped working or people just stopped
No,
hiring him.
he is. He does this TV show, which I will mention is shite. It's really bad. But like, he can't act. At least you think he could act. He can't act. He's just. Oh no. It does my head in. Like, even I can list off comedians who do my head in. Like, there's
I feel like this podcast is just going to turn into us complaining about stuff. I feel
Well,
like
there's so much to
I feel like
complain
because we
about.
don't complain about stuff online, we suddenly got lots of stuff we can complain about.
But there's so much to complain about. There's so much, like, diseases of comedy out there. But anything we could complain about.
Yeah.
Another is last one then I'll say is Russell Howard. I don't like the guy. I don't.
What, you don't like?
No, not the guy. I just.
You don't like
I
his mom and
can
his
imagine
dad.
him being extremely annoying anyway. But no, nothing against it. But I just don't find him funny whatsoever. Like, I think it's more childish humour. I think no. There's no
Sound very
substance.
pretentious calling him. Well,
No, I just no.
Well, I think he's all. I think he's alright. I like some of his stuff that he does. I think I liked it more when I was younger. Maybe I just like stopped liking.
Even when I was younger, I don't know. Something about it I didn't like. Could be a segment that easily. What is comedic value and what isn't comedic value? We could easily have half and half in boxes easily.
Well, we were going to do the whole Room 101 thing, and I feel like we've already just slipped straight into that.
That
was our go-to.
Well, we could reel off a few more.
Yeah.
So
Well, okay. We'll start with it. What else annoys you?
Well, we could add a few. Well, we've gone through the annoyance box quite easily, but
Go on, add a few more because I got one off the top of my head.
what that annoys you?
Yeah, I've got something that annoys me off the top of my head.
Go on then. What?
You know when it's to do with like when people tell jokes, but it's the sort of person who tells jokes by like not telling you the truth.
Mm.
So they tell you a lie, have you believe that what they said is a lie, and then go, "No, this is the truth." I'm like,
well,
that's not a joke. You just lied to me.
don't they do that on like there's specifically a program where they often use that type of humour, or am I making that up? I can't think what it is, but there's something where it's just it's really...
Well, the sort of thing that I like. Have you ever seen Nathan For You?
No.
That it's like that's the sort of thing where he tells you something that is really just weird and like. So the whole premise of it is he's trying to improve businesses.
Yeah.
So he's going up to small businesses and going, this crazy wacky idea will help you get more customers.
Yeah.
And then it's him essentially following through that idea with other people, and it's just a like comedy show, and it's a lot of it is really cringe.
Yeah.
But it's also just hilarious as well, because it's also like a little character study on Nathan himself, who's just this weird awkward guy.
No, I ain't seen it. I don't know.
Like one of the episodes is him. You know what The Bachelor is, like the reality TV show.
Yeah.
So essentially, in order to understand himself and break barriers of how he talks to women and gets girlfriends, he decides to make a bachelor show where he's the bachelor.
Oh right.
And he goes to like Craigslist and gets all these like weird women who want to just essentially be on TV, and he knows they want to be on TV, but he's just going to use that for the fact that they're going to start hitting on him, and then he's going to be like, no.
Yes, the old exploiting trick.
Well, and then he gets like a host who's like better looking than him, and he's just jealous of the host the entire time.
No, that doesn't sound bad, to be fair. I can't. I don't know. It's just popped into my a good one. Like you mentioned, what I think is like, as well as The Office, is IT Crowd, which you mentioned already. But I also really like Peep Show. I think that that bracket humour is just really good. I like that. That's my type of thing, and it's more. I don't know. American comedies do my head in.
Really?
I'll tell you what.
Depending on them, I quite like them.
I don't know. It's just so like with British humour. It's more. We're so. It's like how we are as people. It's like we do complain, don't we? But it's how we are. It's just. But it's funny to relate to those situations, like in Peep Show. You know what I mean. Whereas in American comedies, it's just so over the top. Like the US Office, where they.
Do you not like it?
I
Honestly, I think it's better than the UK one.
I don't. It's just no. There's no subtlety or like direction in it. It's very over the top. I think like the reason I don't like it as much. There's nothing you can relate to. The one in the UK, you can imagine being in that office and how awkward and cringy it is having a boss like David Brent. Whereas in that, you would not have people running around going parkour. You know, do you know what I mean? And I haven't watched it properly to give an opinion, so I'm very heavily biased anyway. But it's just, I can't get past it. I can't get past.
Well, I feel it's just a matter of taste because I like comedies that have like a romantic twist to it, to where you've got like with the whole Jim and Pam sort of thing in the American Office, and the way that sort of just leads.
But Tim and Dawn in the UK one.
Well, yeah, I know. I mean, that's why I like the UK. I don't dislike the UK one. I just prefer the American one. Yeah. And I like cringe humor, but I'm also like, there's times where I'm watching it and I'll just skip a bit because I'm like, oh,
I really
can't stop myself from skipping it.
What do you think of In-Betweeners then? Because that almost crosses both sections, if you get what I mean. Because there's a lot where it's in your face humour, but a lot of it is subtle, quite cringy humour. It's like a mix, but I think it's really well written.
I think there's a lot more heartfelt stuff in Betweeners than there is in The Office, especially the UK one.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like I like being emotionally invested in the show.
I can tell. Yeah. No, I've got another. Well, we're calling it Room 101 now.
Okay.
After we've done all that. Yeah. But I've got one where, it does my head. Where American companies, or whatever you want to call it, they take a brilliant UK sitcom, inject it with cancer or something, or AIDS, and just ruin it, and then publish it in the US. They destroy the whole show. Have you seen like the US In-Betweeners or anything like that? Terrible. Don't tell me you like that.
No, I know. Obviously, I didn't like that. No. I mean, a bad show is a bad show.
No, I just don't. But they seem to do it with everything, so that's going in.
Did you ever see the IT Crowd has an American pilot?
I think I saw something, but I just
really
switched
bad.
off. I switched off. I can't do. They do.
Well, like Richard Ayoade is in the American version as well.
Is he?
Yeah, it's him. And
how's he agreed to
it's
that?
him and Joel McHale, who it was the lead in Community, and I love Community.
What's that?
It's like an American sitcom, but it's written by the same guy who writes Rick and Morty. So he did that before he did Rick and Morty. But I watched it before Rick and Morty even existed because I really liked it.
So I couldn't give an opinion on it.
Have you never seen it?
I've seen tiny 10-second clips.
I feel like a lot of fans have ruined Rick and Morty for a lot of people.
They hype it up a lot, so I'm like, I'd almost go in thinking if this isn't really funny, I don't. You know what I mean? It's one of them because all the fans go off as though you have to be super intelligent to. But obviously,
I feel that's a bit of an inside joke.
It's a meme. I've seen it and everything, but I mean, I honestly think that a lot of them are slightly pretentious and believe that as well.
I don't.
Especially seeing it online, I think they believe that they are superior.
Well, I started watching it for the first episode, and I watched the pilot episode, and I was like, "This is really funny." I just carried on watching it. I watched it each week as it came out.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really funny. And then it got to about like the third or fourth season, and it became really popular. And it just became really embarrassing. Like the show was still the quality of the show was still really good.
Yeah.
But I couldn't admit that I liked the show because everyone was like,
everyone
was so weird about it.
And you're like, you're one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yeah. Okay. Right. Do you think it's time to move on?
Yeah. What do you want to move
on to? What do we have in the schedule?
In the notes you made on Facebook.
The notes, yes.
We can do news.
Okay. So, shall we hit the big one of Kanye and Trump?
Yeah, I did watch that.
Have you actually watched it?
I did. I watched the full 20
You've done your homework,
thing. Yeah. And like, he brings up points, but a lot of it is just sort of undercut by his own narcissism.
I struggle because if anyone else was so for Donald Trump, I really would not like him. But because it's Kanye, I actually really like Kanye West.
Yeah.
I think he's not trying to be negative whatsoever. There's nothing in him that's like, oh yeah, we've got to stop so and so like Trump is. When I've watched more interviews and piled it with Kanye, there's so many pieces.
He's a really positive person, and he's really likable.
Yeah.
Which makes it even more confusing that he supports someone who's really negative.
That's why I personally had to watch other interviews he's had to piece it together, and I understand where he's coming from, but I think he's gone about it the wrong way. So in other interviews, he's saying that he admires Trump for how he got into office when everyone else expected him not to, and he admires his business, prowess or whatever you want to call it.
All the bankruptcy.
Yeah, you know what I mean. He admires that, and he also said that if he could have the political views of Bernie Sanders and then the image almost of Donald Trump and how it works, that'd be a perfect package. And he's saying the Make America Great Again is just supporting whoever the president is. That's what he's saying, which I understand.
That mix of sort of Bernie Sanders and Trump is essentially just what Obama was, except he was just a black guy.
I don't know.
A black guy and a little less Bernie Sanders and a lot less Trump.
Yeah, well, I agree with a lot of Bernie Sanders' views.
Yeah, no, so I feel like we both are good. See, I want to get people in. Yeah. So when we actually get guests in,
we'll have a guest named Jim Bob. Hopefully, but
we've not told him yet. But
if we can get him off his please tag, but we'll get him in, and he should have some contrasting views. And
what did you think of that Majid video I sent?
Oh, what with the Jim Bob bit?
Yeah, the Jim Bob bit.
No, funny. Yeah,
I thought it was funny.
No,
I was properly.
You know, we're only winding you up.
Yeah.
Well, let's add some context. So you did an interview with Majid.
So I was doing some filming with him as a part of it.
So Majid, the Lord Mayor of Sheffield, the infamous wasteman Donald Trump fiasco. Yeah, so you did like an interview thing with him, and as a joke, we have someone in our chat on Facebook called Jim Bob, who is a running joke that he's a drug dealer. So Liam got Majid to say that Jim Bob was essentially a drug dealer, and he's on to him. And Jim Bob, I can't tell if he was joking, but he did seem as though he was panicking a bit, didn't he? They were like, oh, they're after me now.
They're like, everyone called me a snitch, and
I'm
thinking it was hilarious.
We were all, well, I know I was joking.
Nathan was dying.
Yeah, they were funny. No one thinks you're a snitch. Maybe, except Jim Bob, but they were funny though.
And then I got a nice shout out. I think the shout out to Brett pulled the entire thing together.
It was nice.
Yeah.
What, is he a nice guy then?
Oh, he's really nice. Yeah, he's really cool. He gave a homeless guy his phone number.
Really?
A homeless guy was like, yeah, if you were to ring up, I'd be able to get housed, stuff like that. I was like, I don't know if I'd give a homeless guy my phone number, to be honest.
Well,
I don't like getting calls from people I know. Never mind getting calls from people I don't.
No, that's not. No, he does come across as a nice guy. I mean, obviously he's gonna draw opinions with what he said about Donald Trump and the wasteman thing and saying you're not allowed in this city. But
I saw more of that as just more of a message than a strict demand sort of thing.
Of course it was. It wasn't. He doesn't have the power to.
No, I mean he's going to create a barrier.
It's obviously a message, but like you made a great point actually, where you said that. What did you say now?
Even know who the last mayor was?
Yeah, exactly. Who was the last mayor of Sheffield? I don't know. You do you know? You might know.
No, I have no idea.
No, I don't know. I don't think anybody could say who the last mayor was. And who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? But whereas this guy, Majid, you might not agree with what he says or the whole. It's not a chav in thing, is it? It's more of a. What is it?
People call him a millennial mayor sort of thing.
Yeah, that type of thing. You might not agree with the image saying, "Oh, he should be prim and proper." Well, that I disagree. That's a little bit of crap. But you know what I mean. But
he should be an old white man.
Yeah, but his actual views, if you actually listen to his views, he's all about equality and helping people.
Yeah.
So whether you don't like how he goes across or comes across or whatever, his views are actually really good, and he's getting that out there by being this persona, isn't he? You know,
it's hard not to like people who are really positive and nice.
Yeah,
like that's why people with lots of like enthusiasm for stuff always get jobs.
But and then they get a lot of hate as well. But that's people being jealous, isn't it? I think. Like the way when they're really positive, people think, how can they be so positive? What's to be positive about?
Yeah.
And that they get the hate from that. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Whereas, well, fortunately, we don't see it like that. That's why we need like a Jim Bob in here, just to spice things up.
Well, I can't tell if Jim Bob is even really conservative, to be honest.
He's not conservative. He don't know anything. He's not conservative.
He's living in his own little world.
He's just an idiot. He doesn't know. He doesn't know.
He won't accept that if he is that.
Oh God. No.
I'd like to get Tom in because I feel like Tom is a conservative.
Tom at least has some political know-how and stuff.
I'd like to hear his opinion and stuff.
Yeah, he's got contrasting views to us, I think.
Yeah.
But at least he'll make sense in what he says. Jim Bob would just be like...
I think Jim Bob would just put out a load of nonsense that don't really make sense.
He'd vote for someone if they said, "Oh, you don't have to charge for like shopping bags anymore." That's his whole political ideology. If I don't have to pay, that's it. Vote him. He's an idiot. But it'd be nice to have him on.
Yeah, Jim Bob, come on.
I enjoy getting wound up by him, much as I hate to admit it. Yeah, so we'll have Jim Bob on.
Okay.
Okay.
What was the whole thing? What do you think of Trump? Even though I can tell you don't like him, but what do you think about him as a person?
Kanye's actually made some good points. Like he's made me actually think of what he's achieved, and I know I can see you frowning and that, but he has done really well. Like when people say a small loan of $1 million, which is pretty ludicrous. I mean, no one would be lucky enough to get that, but he's turned that into multi-billion-pound ridiculous sums. And if you gave the majority of people £1 million, they couldn't do that. It's a fact.
You know that's not actually true, though, right?
What?
So he got it was released in a New York Times article last week or so. And essentially, he's been getting loans from his dad's estate.
Oh, really?
That have totaled up to about 500 plus million.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Essentially, he's paid tax on about 80 million.
Oh, that's
so he's not.
Well, I look a twat.
Well, no, because that's the general myth about it. That's what media have said about him. He made this 1 million into an empire.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm into that.
I think his dad was very aware that Trump was just killing like his money. He was just throwing it away. Because I mean, like, you don't be a good businessman with having as many bankruptcies as he's had. He's got a terrible reputation in business. That's why he's not the owner of a company that's on the Wall Street markets or anything like that. He's not.
Yeah.
It's not public. He doesn't have a publicly owned company, because if he had a publicly owned company and he was the CEO, he would be fired from that job because he makes such bad. That's why people like Tim Cook and stuff like that. He's really quiet, and why Zuckerberg, even though he's a robot, he's
proper robot.
He's not he realizes how important the public opinion is of him as a CEO. Yeah. That's why if people call Trump an absolute idiot, he owns his company privately. He can do whatever he wants.
No, I hadn't considered that properly, I'd say.
Yeah.
But I guess I have bought into the whole persona of... Not his views, because I think his views are a load of crap, but the whole image of him building his way up and the business...
That's how he gets people, a lot of people's arguments for him during the election I saw was that he's a self-made man sort of thing. He's such a good business. If he can run America like he runs his own business.
But a lot of it...
how many... 3 bankruptcies or something like that? That's not a good business. And he's put America into a lot more deficit than it had to be in.
Well, people say, where... from when Obama was ruling, I can't remember what the stats were, but it was something like... profit, like a net profit in the American, currency, whatever you want to call it, is up since Donald Trump has took over. But that's been spiking and rising under Obama.
Yeah.
And it's continued the same spike and rise since Donald Trump has took charge. But that stemmed from Obama. It's not him who's led this charge in finance and things. This was already
It's been the same upward curve since
It's an
Obama.
upward curve that's already been happening.
And with all the tax cuts to the rich as well, that's only going to go down.
Yeah, so...
I mean, if the rich aren't providing the money for it to be taxed for... that's one thing that really annoys me. Even though it doesn't... I can understand it. It's like why people see tax as bad. But ultimately, tax is good. The whole point of tax is so it can fund stuff like the NHS.
But without tax, the whole
society
would crumble.
The whole so when people oh, I've got £1,000 more in tax. Well, not for very long, you haven't.
But these are the type of views Jim Bob would have. Yeah. Why do I have to pay tax? And we're both going to get so angry, scratching chairs out.
Yeah. It's like you may not like having money taken from the government, from your bank account, but I mean,
good luck without tax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the whole, that's what the whole economy is based off of. You don't, and the idea that cutting taxes to the rich will cause more money to trickle down to the average sort of folk. That's not true, really. It's it's been proven not true over the 20 plus or 30 plus years they've tried and don't do it in America. All it really is trickle down economy is an idea that can be sold to sort of the conservative brand, I think. And the idea that, if we cut taxes and we'll cut your tax and we'll cut all people's taxes, and then the economy will it's like the reality of it is the more money the government has, the more money everyone else should have, because they should be able to disperse the money.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that's dependent on...
the government. It depends on the government, yeah, but hopefully you elect people who are fair and will give money out.
Well, that happened for a millennium, but that's, you know what I mean, but... No, that is true about tax and everything, though, and it does make you think about the whole Donald Trump persona, because a lot of time, you can't trust what the media even come out with. You have to do your own research to find true news, essentially. Do you know what I mean by that? A lot of it is just, they have little agendas in every piece of news they have to sway you one way or the other. And it's often subtle, but if you look into it slightly, you know what I mean, it makes a difference. People believe it.
I think what you've got to do is you've got to pick your trusted media source, and then even if you trust that they'll most of the time tell you the truth, trust that sometimes that truth is going to be skewed for some reason or other. I always like to look at comments on articles, and if a big article has come out, I'll read generally what the opposite opinion is,
right,
and I'll see what, I'll base my opinion off facts, not off of how people are feeling about it. So I'll see how people are feeling about it, but generally people just go, well, this is a fact, this is a fact, this is a fact, this is a fact. And sometimes facts can't be true, but sometimes facts aren't true, but most of the time facts are facts.
Facts are.
Yeah.
It's more how...
with headlines and stuff like that, how people try and...
Or even images where... I remember one in the media of... just ridiculous. Jeremy Corbyn on... I think it was BBC News. A picture of him, the old anti-Semitic thing,
I honestly, I was like, I don't care.
No, but they put an image of him with like a Russian hat on or something, and when he didn't know, they photoshopped it on. It was the most ludicrous thing I've ever seen, and I couldn't. I thought someone's hacked the BBC. BBC can't stoop that way. No, I don't want to get into the whole Jeremy Corbyn thing. I can't be bothered.
Honestly,
that is ludicrous.
People doing that, people writing that article. There'll be one person writing that article, and then maybe two people who oversaw it.
They'll be like, "This is a great
all it takes
idea."
is 3 people to go, I think this is a good idea, and then thousands of people see it and go, What were you thinking?
There'd be people like us in a room with a few beers going, oh yeah, you know what, I'm going to Photoshop and rushing out onto his head. Oh yeah, this is a great idea.
What do you think of Corbyn?
I actually agree with a hell of a lot of his views. I like Corbyn.
I agree with I'd say about like 80-70% of it. But like personally, I think with the whole EU referendum, I think we're better in the EU than out of it.
No, I agree.
Ah, you did get scratched. So he does do that. He does. Well, no, don't go back. Don't go back from what.
Shit myself. Oh
just let him be. Just let him be. But like,
Shit.
a Dom got scratched by my cat. That's what happened just then.
Yeah. Shit flew out.
Well, like with the whole EU referendum, Corbyn is like notoriously anti-EU. He was anti-EU before the EU referendum.
Yeah.
So people who are like pro-EU don't really have a place to turn because.
But he wanted to stay in the EU.
No, not really. I don't think
so.
so.
No, he campaigned to stay in the European Union.
Very lazily though. I felt I didn't.
It
hear
might
anything.
be, but he still.
I felt the main place for remaining in the EU was the Conservatives, which would make sense because they want money.
It were mixed. They were heavily mixed. Like you've got Boris saying leave. You've got Cameron saying stay.
Yeah.
You've got Theresa May saying stay. You've got loads. It's all contrast. Then you've got Corbyn, who
Corbyn has a history of wanting to leave. He said before he wants to leave the EU.
I agree. He disagrees, but he did say he wanted to stay. When you weigh up the positives and negatives of what I saw, I personally thought. I mean, let's be honest. I feel like when we see what we've seen now, and they can't even get a deal, it seems like the best idea. But hindsight is obviously a good, easy thing.
Yeah,
to say.
the sense that I got from it, and this doesn't mean it doesn't mean it's true, but the sense that I got from it is that Labour generally wanted to stay in the EU, and they sort of agreed with the Conservatives that it was or at least some of the Conservatives that it was a good idea to stay in the EU, and they put pressure on Corbyn to say that he wanted to stay, but like on the campaign trail, I don't really remember him saying anything. Like personally,
he definitely wanted to say.
Maybe yeah. I might be wrong. I don't know.
But we were mixed, but. Yeah, I mean the whole what do you think about having a second referendum? Like for me personally, I don't think it's a good idea. That once people have spoken, that I disagree with leaving the EU. But what's the point in having a vote and then saying, "Oh, we didn't really want that." So you know,
I'm sort of mixed on it because I understand. I totally get why you shouldn't have a second one after having a first one. But we didn't actually know what we were getting with the first one. It was sort of a race. It was sort of an impulsive.
But why would people vote for it then? If you don't know what you're getting, you've got. Okay.
Well, it's because we were told we had the choice.
No, but you don't. The whole reason people vote. A lot of the reason people vote was immigration and. It's just rubbish.
Well, it gets more complicated with all the Cambridge Analytica stuff as well.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't.
But
I don't
like, if I was in the position of power, and I'm of the opinion that staying in the EU is better than leaving it, for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
I would say, okay, there can only be a second referendum. Well, there will be a second referendum. And it will be days before the final time period we have. And we're only going to stay if we have 70% of the population say they want to stay in the EU, knowing the deal we have. But if we get a deal before that referendum, like deal with the EU before the referendum, then that is the deal we're going to take.
Well, yeah, that seems quite...
I feel
a
like
decent idea, to be fair.
I feel like that's a compromise that sort of works for everyone.
I mean, 70%. I mean, I don't think that would happen.
I don't think it would happen either. But I think
if it was, then you'd have to. That's the whole.
I would think if the country wanted it enough, then it would get to 70%.
People are still going to use the idea of immigration and stuff that they think leaving the EU is going to somehow stop immigration. That's what people think.
I think people who like my sister and my mum both voted leave, and I voted remain. And I didn't really I asked them after what they did, And I was like, how could you have done that? I wasn't like, how could you have done this? But
Yeah.
But it's like my sister like travelled around Europe and stuff like that. And I was like, well, you don't know if you'd be able to do that if we left the EU.
Yeah.
I feel like you've taken advantage of some of the stuff we got with the EU, and now you won't necessarily get these same things. I think it's the case of a lot of stoked fears about immigration, and I don't think immigration is that big of a deal, to be honest. It's one of those things where it's a bit like whenever people scaremonger.
Yeah, that's what.
That's the main thing that annoys me about it. It's just people scaremongering about.
Yeah.
Like, if you say, why do you want to leave the EU? And if immigration is the first thing they say, it's like, well, I wonder where you've heard that from.
Yeah, it's not, I don't think it's the best reason, to be honest. I really don't. Oh. Yeah.
But yeah, that's my personal view on that.
No, yeah.
You tell I've had a lot of stuff to say. I've just not said it.
Can I get a word?
Okay, go on, Dom. Give me an experience that you've had this week.
Alright, so this is our regular segment, our experience of the week. So this is my one. I go to Graves Gym quite a lot, and I was finishing at about 10 o'clock when it shut, so I was literally leaving bang on 10, and it's not anything amazing, but it's a bit ludicrous. I was going to the car with my friend, and I would pull, like, it was the outer car park. I was coming out, I'd lights on, I was just driving at a steady speed, and this woman opposite coming at a steady speed, and so I had to turn left to go out, she had to turn right to go out, so obviously it's coming face on, and she was a bit further away, and I had to start pulling to turn left, and she zoomed up and beeped me, and I didn't mind. I just gave her a look as if to say, calm down, if we're in a car, it's fine, and so I left it there. But the thing with me is when people get more and more annoyed, it fuels me to be more and more annoying. So I pulled off into the road, minding my own business, and I saw her driving really close behind me, really, really close, and to the point where she could have banged my car if I braked. So I gave her a little wave in the mirror, just a little sarcastic wave, just to say, maybe move back a bit. So she sped up next to me at the traffic light, zoomed right close to me, tapped on her window. Bear in mind, she had a child, I presume he's under the age of 3, strapped in the front with her, not in a booster seat, just strapped in, like nearly falling out,
like a dog.
Like a dog, just nearly hanging out. And she knocked on window, so I thought, right, this will be interesting. So I moved my window down. She went in, I don't know, just talking drivel to me, shouting at me. I went, calm down. What's the matter? And then her whole argument was, why'd you wave at me for? Right, okay then. So she sped up, nearly caused an accident because I waved at her in the mirror. That is the best form of sarcasm ever, when you don't actually do anything wrong and get someone annoyed. And you know what? I was giggling the whole way home. She shouted at me while her kid's nearly hanging out by the neck, like bobbing up and down like some mad deranged dog in the front, and just because I waved in the mirror. So that's my experience of the week. Ludicrous. Okay. Do you have anything that?
I don't know if I've had any experiences at all this week.
Well, you've had a full week, I presume.
It's only Thursday.
Oh, yeah. What? Friday? Oh, we can't reach that in, so of course we are. It's the weekend. God, we've done this early.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
You know what? I'm free on the weekend as well, so you could have come over.
Exactly. Oh, should have waited.
We could do another one on the weekend. We can get Jim Bob over.
Yeah, we could actually. We'll ask him. But yeah. Not a bad idea. Well, we don't. We both don't have to have a segment of the week. If one of us does it, it's
I don't really have anything really weird or ludicrous to say.
Well, it doesn't matter.
If I did, I've already forgotten about it.
I just find that funny that when you can get someone so mad by doing so little, it's brilliant. I personally, I get a little kick out of that. Whereas, just imagine her going, he's a right dickhead. What did he do? He waved at me in the mirror. Right. Have you took your pills, love? Oh, Jesus Christ.
Sometimes
Calm
you're
down.
too friendly for your own good, Dom. You're just too friendly.
Nah. That's the best way forward, I think.
Mm.
Alright, thank you for listening to our first podcast ever. And hopefully we're going to get a few more guests in for our next episode. Well, not a few more guests. A singular guest for our next episode, and a few more guests in the future. So, yeah, I hope you've enjoyed our little, ultimately pointless conversation. But yeah, I hope it's been at least interesting or intriguing. So.
Or entertaining.
Yeah.
Any of it.
Pick any of them. Pick one and run with it. So, thank you.